Circe is the most famous sorceress and the first witch ever to appear in Western literature. And there is a time where books, especially feminist retellings of certain Greek myths, are big. One of these retellings is about Circe, and it's of course Madeline Miller's Circe. So here's a review and my honest thoughts on Circe. No, I did do a review on this, but I thought it was not doing the book justice. So I'm here to do it again. Circe is a powerful goddess and a sorceress known for her mastery of magic, potion, and herbs. Famously, she is seen in Homer's Odyssey, where she brings the men into her palace and then turns them into swines. This is very accurate description of how men can be, as they are in fact pigs. She is the daughter of the sun god Helios and an ocean nymph, Circe. She is known for her family. She is the aunt of the Minotaur and Ariadne, as well as Medea, one of history's also famous sorceresses from Greek mythology. The book talks about her birth all the way to when her and Telemachus speak to each other, which is mostly seen in the Theogony, which is a lost text, but there is a snippet about it that we know. Okay, so the book begins at her birth. Right away, she is born and her mother hates her. Her mother just does not love her, which is insane. Her father does love her. As in the text it says, but my father did not mind his daughters, who were sweet-tempered and golden as the first press of olives. So her father is fine with her. Her mother hates her. No, a girl, my mother said to him, wrinkling her nose. Insane, but okay, I don't judge. They have 4 children all in total, Circe being the eldest, and they're each given a prophecy by their father, Helios. They are given good lives, but Circe is not. So she's just hated by her mother. Fast forward, she meets Prometheus, and he and her talk. They form this like really cute bond with each other. Then she is like told not to. Then a while later, she meets a mortal named Glaucus. He's basically a fisherman, a young fisherman, and she quickly falls in love with him. She falls in love with him. She talks to her grandmother saying, I love him, I say. There must be a way. Which her grandmother sighs and says, do you know how many nymphs before you have hoped the same and have been disappointed? Which is intense, because she is right. Also gods, they were also disappointed that their mortal lovers had died. So there's basically no hope. And then Circe makes up this potion, gives it to him in order for him to become a god. And of course, Glaucus, he does become a god, and he is immediately accepted by the other sea gods. Then Glaucus falls in love with this other nymph named Scylla. Now Circe gets really jealous of Scylla, and so she's like, how can I do this? Like, how can I do this? And then on their wedding day, Circe hears after the wedding from her aunt, Selene, who is Helios's twin sister and the goddess of the moon, that Scylla transformed into a monster. And now Circe's happy because, one, the plan worked. She was the one who transformed Scylla into a monster. And two, this could mean that Glaucus is going to marry her, which he's not, because he literally says, "You are like a sister to me." Circe, let it go. He does not have a crush on you. You are being crazy. And then, a few pages later, she's like, "Oh yeah, I did it. I actually turned Scylla into a monster." I'm like, girl, nobody wants to hear. You could have been fine. But no, she's not. So she's flung to an island. All right, she spent some time in the island. It's a very nice island. I would also want to be in the island alone. And she meets Hermes. Now, Hermes, hold on. I kid you not, I wish I was making this up. One of the first things that Hermes says to Circe is, "Do you want to bear my child?" Okay. All right. Okay. That is interesting. Like, what? That is like one of the first things you ever say to her. Not like, "Oh, let's have a talk. Let's sit down. Let's enjoy some tea. Let's enjoy some wine." Out of everything that Madeline Miller could have wrote, she wrote, "Do you want to bear my child?" Circe, of course, says, No, I don't." All right. They have this like romance, small romance, and he leaves. Hermes leaves. And then come boats, then come other ships from Crete. Now, Circe's sister is in Crete. She's married to Minos. And it's like, "Oh, hi. What the fuck are you guys doing here? I thought Scylla would eat you guys." But no, Scylla's fine. I mean, she did eat them. Some of them. But the others, they got through. And now Circe's pressed. Because, excuse me, girl, what the fuck? You wanted power, you wanted magic. How about you ask our mother or dad? So she's really annoyed that her sister had sent a bunch of men to almost die. But she's like, "Okay, fine, I'll go to Crete." And so they make this whole entire plan up for Scylla to not eat the others. Circe pretends to be Glaucus, and they travel safely. They're safe. They go safe. Then it's like, "Oh, how dare you, you stupid cunt," Circe says to her sister. Not really. And her sister is in labor. Currently, she is crashing out in pain. And so Circe's like, "Okay, fine, I'll help you." So she helps her sister. Turns out her sister's giving birth to the fucking Minotaur. So Circe is panicking. Circe's like, "What the fuck? How did this Minotaur come to be?" So they fight, as sisters do. And then Circe like speaks to Ariadne. They have like a very cute aunt niece moment going on with them. And so Circe and the guy, Icarus's father, who also was the one who came over to Circe and was like, "Hey, your sister needs help." They have like this little interaction. I would say it's kind of romantic, but I didn't like it. I personally didn't like it. More of my thoughts later. They have this like interaction with each other. It's like little Icarus is there. He's a baby. He's hidden away, so nobody can find him. So yeah. And then, luckily for the people in Crete and the king and queen, Circe's like, okay, you know what? I'll help you guys. So she uses her magic to tame the Minotaur. She goes back to her island. And a few years later, Jason and Medea come to her island, asking for them to be cleansed by her crimes. Now, Medea is Circe's niece. Quite literally, Circe and Medea, they have the same ancestry. Now, Medea is the princess of Colchis, wife of Jason, who is the main Argonaut, and the person who quite literally brought the Golden Fleece to Greece from Georgia. Now, Circe helps them, but in doing so, she's like to Medea, girl, don't fucking trust him. He's going to leave your house. It's like, all right. Then Circe enters her period of loneliness. She's alone, she's fine. Then sailors come by, realizing that Circe's alone. The ship captain assaults her, and Circe proceeds to turn them into pigs using witchcraft. Good for her, great for her, absolutely wonderful for her. And then Odysseus comes. Odysseus, the guy who spent another 10 years going back to Ithaca from Troy, which was, in fact, a total of 20 years. He comes, he is like, hey, I kind of need, like, help. Before that, once Odysseus' men come to Circe's island, she turns them into pigs. But that's bad. Bad for them. Luckily, Odysseus, who is held by Hermes, he is fine from Circe's power, and Circe's like, okay, fine. I'll bring your men back. And they stay in Circe's island for a year. All right. Then Odysseus has to go, which leaves Circe with their child, Odysseus and Circe's child, alone. Yeah, so I don't know what happened to I want to have kids. But all right, Circe, you do you. Girl, you do you. I don't care. Then she realizes that Athena is threatening her kid. So she's like, no. Boom, this island is fine. This island is fine, and nobody's going to put harm on this island. Then their kid, Teleogonus, begs. He's like, Mom, please let me leave my island. Let me find my dad. And she's like, okay, fine. Go. Then once Telegonus goes to Ithaca, Odysseus is like, yo, who the fuck are you, bitch? Stabs him. Okay, by accident. So Odysseus didn't mean that. Odysseus is actually a really good person. Okay. So Telegonus is guilty. So he takes Penelope and Telemachus to his island where he lives with his mom. Athena then visits the island that Penelope and Telemachus reside in, and she offers her patronage to Telemachus, which he's like, no, I do not want no goddess patronage. Okay, Telemachus. Okay, I would take that patronage if I were you, because that's literally the reason why your dad got home. Literally the reason why dad got home. What if you just happen to go to Troy, fight, boom, you got no one's patronage, and so, like, you're fucked, you're like, oh, damn, whatever, I don't care. Then Telegonus accepts in his steed and it goes into its own hero journey. So Telegonus is led by Athena. All right, fine. Then Circe, after she loses her sons, like calls up her dad, like, yo, dad, can you like ask Zeus to get me out of my exile? Because it's been a long fucking time and I'm sick. I want to be with people. And he's like, no. So Circe goes ahead and blackmails him. All right. Would not blackmail a god titan. But you do you, babes. You do you. Maybe your father probably loves you still. Then it's like, okay. So he goes. And then with Telemachus's help, Circe goes and like uses the power of the flower that she used on Glaucus in hopes to turn into immortal and travel with Telemachus, which I think is fucking stupid. Bitch, you are out here on an island, cool ass island, and you want to go travel with this random ass kid that you don't fucking know. I would be so fucking pressed. Because first things first, Telemachus is not a fucking feminist. He fucking hangs the slaves that were probably raped by the suitors of his mother because he's like, oh, it's their fucking fault they slept with him. Their fault. He's not up. Okay, I need to calm down. Why? I thought that was fucking stupid what she did. I'm sorry. That was so fucking stupid. Okay, here are my thoughts. So I'm a huge fan of how the character work is done. I really think Madeline Miller went into this book with the open mind. She was like, okay, let me write a feminist retelling. Let me write it good. We'll discuss on that if it's really good on the book. I really do like Circe's character. I also like how Madeline Miller is able to describe places in great detail. I think that's wonderful. And also how Madeline Miller makes these characters, which I think is perfect. She is quite literally immortal. She cannot die. So this book covers multiple eras of her life. It covers her birth, her meeting with Glaucus, her exile, her meeting with Odysseus, her meeting with Telemachus. It covers almost everything of her life from sources. Of course, with any other retelling, this is not Greek mythology accurate. Madeline Miller focuses on certain things that she makes in order for her book to fit our now perspective of life, due to the fact that the ancient Greeks and the ancient myths from Greece were a idea of how they lived. Of course, men were cheating on their wives with concubines, slaves, and their wives would get mad at their slaves. It's also the reason why so many gods had relations with younger men, boys in this case. It is quite literally a telling of our time and how we live as a society. Who would I recommend this book to? I would recommend this book to people who like Song of Achilles. Even if I didn't like Song of Achilles, I'm sure there's a lot of people who like Song of Achilles and they are able to understand that, hey, this book is not accurate. Like, hey, this book is not the Iliad and I'm not going to use it as a trusted source because it does follow like the similar structure and Achilles and Patroclus are mentioned in this book. So, hey, I recommend them to that. I also recommend this book to people who really like the feminist retellings of ancient myths like the Ariadne or Silence of the Girls or Women of Troy or Hera. I love those books and I adored this book. Well, not so much so, but as I did with the others, but I did adore this book. Right, people who really like characters like Circe, like people who are really interested in that like witchy feeling. Also people who like books that like smell like ocean, like you're in an ancient Greek island. I would totally recommend this book to them all. I gotta stop gushing, and I want to say what I didn't like about this book. Okay. I didn't like how Madeline Miller was putting down Circe's sister, who was a victim of assault, in order to put up Circe. I do not like that. I'm sorry. Madeline Miller, she managed to put Circe's siblings in like a really bad position. If you just read this book, you'll be like, oh, I fucking hate her siblings. And her mother. And her father. Which, no, don't. That's like my main issue with this book. Here's the review and my rating. For me, Circe was a 4.5. Loved the way the book made me feel. Loved the way it transformed me into a whole another time period. I love that. I love when books are able to do that. I loved the voice that was given to Circe. She has even a more powerful voice than Homer gave her. Of course, Homer gave her a very strong voice. Like, she is this sorceress who turns these men into pigs. How strong is that? That's so fucking strong. But Madeline Miller elevated that, which I thought was really cool. I really liked the cover of my book. Like, I love this, like, edge thing. I love that. I don't know if a lot of people love that. I also have this map and also questions that were given to Madeline Miller for, like, an interview. Also have a table of contents, which is really cool. I don't know if other people's books have that, but I think mine's really cool for that. There's her interview about this book, which is really cool. And also questions that are able to ask, which is interesting. And also, she gives us her recommendations. I think that's really cool. Alright, I did not like the lovey-dovey romance, because for me, I don't think Circe, when I think of Circe, I don't think of this lovey-dovey woman. Like, I don't think she's like out here falling in love. Sure, she probably did fall in love, but that is like twice with Glaucus and Odysseus. I don't think anything else. Sure, but like the romance wasn't just for me. Okay, there could have been some changes with like how the structure and story were set around romance. Because if I think of a character and there's romance in the book, I'm like, no, I do not feel like this is her. I really don't feel like it was her. All right, my next point of thought. A quick point of thought before the actual. What is your favorite retelling? It could be Greek, it could be Roman, it could be Egyptian, it could be Norse, it could be Mesopotamian, it could be a retelling of a newer book, newer classic, Little Women, Great Gatsby. I can't think of other names. Jane Austen. Comment them down below so I will be able to read it and I can share my thoughts. All right. Stay safe. Bye. Have a good day.